I'm too positive to be doubtful, too optimistic to be fearful. So all my time I spend cheerful, and I know exactly what I'm here for. I'm too positive to be doubtful, too optimistic to be fearful. So all my time I spend cheerful, and I know exactly what I'm here for. I'm too positive to be doubtful, too optimistic to be fearful. So all my time I spend cheerful, and I know exactly what I'm here for. I'm too positive to be doubtful, too optimistic to be fearful. So all my time I spend cheerful, and I know exactly what I'm here for.
What it do? It's your boy, Dragon Ball Art 92, and I'm back with another BAM reaction video. Yes, today we back on the Omni Tournament 2 hype. You dig? So Unreal Gaming just dropped a new episode. We're going to go ahead and check that out today. But before we get to the content today, you guys, make sure you hit the like button so that way we can trigger YouTube algorithm. That way we can be seen by a bigger audience. Also, if you're new here, I want to thank you for coming by and enjoying content with us today. Here at Dragon Ball Art 92, we do reaction videos. Dragon Ball everything reaction videos. So if you're a Dragon Ball fan, make sure you hit the subscribe button and become a part of the Dragon Ball Art family. Now that we got all that good stuff out the way, let's get to the content.
But the sheer weight of the situation is becoming rather difficult to ignore. The tension festering between the two Omni Kings, now left entirely alone with one another, is a chilling prospect that I can scarcely bear to fathom. So whatever catastrophic storm arises from this impending clash, I pray with the utmost gravity that the scales tilt in favor of our own Omni King, because should Lord Omnus prevail instead, then I fear the consequences for our reality will be entirely irreversible.
As our story now continues, following the initial devastating confrontation involving both future Zeno and Omnus within one of future Trunks' timelines, with Omnus being shown and having to address Zeno directly, to which it was only just upon with Omnus being shown and having to share his thoughts and what exactly he thinks of Zeno before having to initially battle against him, was when Omnus went on to then quickly respond, "You could never understand the hatred that I have come to grow in having for you after realizing the liability that you have become, Zeno. For you are the very embodiment and living proof of the very imperfections that had once dwelled within my very spirits, but I have come to ultimately outgrow you, and the reasons as to why should be more than obvious to you by now if they haven't been already." Omnus continues, "For my very order was as simple as going and putting an end to all things, unless it was that I had willed it otherwise, but you, Zeno, you have allowed for mortals to defy death, for the Kaioshin to create new timelines."
What I find, excuse me, what I find very interesting about this storyline here is that what we're seeing right now is like the yin and yang, the dark and the light clashing right now.
Will the real Slim Sadie please stand up?
And I like the storyline, and I like the concepts that they're bringing to the people, so that way we can brighten more of how we think about certain situations. You understand what I'm saying? So it's great. That's one thing I love about Dragon Ball, bro, when it comes to either the fan content, bro, or just the regular Dragon Ball content. Their concepts are amazing, and you can learn a lot from watching anime, man, but people wouldn't even recognize that, you know? Well, I mean, and it is what it is. I guess anime is for the deep thinkers.
You're goddamn right.
Feel me? But this right here is really panning out to show you exactly kind of what we're facing in the world today. You know, the darkness versus the light. But let's get back into it.
By misusing the time rings, for the gods of destruction to ignore their duties, for the angels to bend the rules in favor of mortal affairs, and countless other egregious acts that will result in what is about to unfold here between us, Omni Jester. For you have permitted for creation itself to go and whisper rules that contradict my very will, and that is why I hate you, Omnus continues. For there can only ever be one Zeno, because two infinities cannot go impossibly allowed to coexist, and that is why you will be destroyed. For you have watched and did nothing while they went and shattered the sacred laws that I alone had went and established in the time before the essence of time itself had been created, and because you have went and allowed for this to unfold as a result of your lack of action against said creations. Omnus adds, the time has now come for you to pay the price with your life and cost of it all. Zeno, with the future Omni King responding, what are you? For you have completely lost your mind, as your fear of multiplicity is the fear of a weak mind that cannot accept the shared duality, and that is why you are wrong. Zeno says, for you call me tainted because I have went and allowed for life to exist, but what is the purpose to create life if you only want them to end up in having them be destroyed? Zeno questions, as I don't see the point in any of it.
And one thing about Zeno's character, I kind of look at it in a few different ways, but one particular way that sticks out to me is the fact that he's very calm, relaxed, because of not just his knowledge and not just because he's the king of everything, but of his understanding of how life operates, the systems, how it works, how everything's put together. He understands that to the point to where there is nothing that can break his consciousness. So that's something deep to me that I see when I watch certain episodes, or how Zeno's character is portrayed. They portray him as a kid, but he's only a kid-like being because of his happiness, his enjoyment that he gets from his understanding of his position in the multiverse. You understand what I'm saying? So to me, it's about understanding your own position enough to be confident and joyful in who you are, but let's get back to it.
And that is why you are wrong. You and me are nothing alike, and we never will be, because you won't be around long enough after this moment and going and seeing it any other way. For I will deal with you by ending this farce before your poison begins to spread any further. But then, it was only just upon with Zeno attempting to do what he did against Astro Zamasu, and that is completely wipe away by having to erase Omnus, with Omnus being shown having to completely nullify Zeno's erasure, was when Omnus went on to then quickly respond, and you'll do what exactly, Zeno? Nullify my existence? Don't flatter yourself here, because while you have went and spent your days playing with tournaments and toys, I, on the other hand, have grown to refine my powers far beyond your very own, and with mortals abusing their privileges, Kaioshin tampering with outcomes, Destroyer siding with favorites, and angels turning blind eyes, this is all a direct result of the consequences that you helped enable and have established, Zeno. And because of your gullible trespasses onto what will inevitably become my utopia, Omnus continues, both the pain itself along with the punishment that I intend on having to go and put you through will be unlike anything that you have ever went and experienced in your entire history as king before, Zeno. And because my nullification abilities are far beyond what you could ever hope for yours to be on its very own, Omnus continues, let this now go and serve in having it be a painful reminder of the difference between our latent potential, along with showing you firsthand on why your efforts to go and stop what I'm aiming to go and accomplish will be done for absolute.
Now, for this Dark Omni King to be stronger than the original Omni King means that the Dark Omni King must have been training in some type of way.
It is time to take back what is mine. I will not live my life as your second.
And if that's the case, then the Dark Omni King got a hand up on Zeno, because from what we see, Zeno don't really train. He just plays because he figures there's no threat that he can't handle. And sometimes that underestimation can put you in a situation you really don't want to be in.
I'd have to do with it.
No. He's got a point.
But it's kind of hard. I like how they're challenging the authority of the of the system that's in place right now. It's pretty deep, bro. Let's see what's about to happen. Is the Omni King gonna win this battle, man? It's not looking like it right now, bro. But let's get back into it.
Absolutely nothing. And now that I have isolated you with no means for either mortal or divine intervention to save you, along with no means for an escape here against me, then allow for me to hereby go and take this moment to go and further demonstrate to you on the difference between our evolutions and why you could never hope to go and rival what I have become, you clueless little traitor. To which suddenly just then within these very moments now, with Omnus being shown and having to be the first to make his move by proceeding and kicking Zeno on through several different different buildings before being shown and having to follow him was when the Red Hooded Dementor went on to observe this battle from above by having to then respond, with those Saiyans now finally destroyed, along with having Lord Megalodor go and clear the path by annihilating those who had remained in the Supreme Kais, along with those secondary mortals who were shown and having to be with them. Shall we proceed to go and assist Lord Omnus by ensuring the destruction of the future Omni King, or is there another plan of action that you are ready and willing to go and take to ensure Master Omnus's victory here against him, brother? With the Black Hooded Dementor having to then respond, we will do no such thing, for we are to go and observe as Lord Omnus decimates his future counterpart, for our master wages war not merely to conquer the Omni King, the Black Hooded Dementor adds, but to go and claim the full undiluted essence of Zeno's greatest attributes. So to rush forth unbidden by Lord Omnus would be a mistake, brother, the Black Hooded Dementor continues, for the feast that Lord Omnus wishes to go and indulge upon is one that he demands to undergo by himself, because his motives demand for absolute solitude in his conquest against the Omni King.
Omnus is trying to gain something from the Omni King then, because that's what it sounds like, you know, through the fight, because if he's so-called stronger than the Omni King, he can just erase him and get him out the way if that was the case, but he's choosing to fight him, like physically fight him.
And his chin served on a platter for that.
So it must be something that the Omni King possesses that Omnus don't possess. Ooh, let's get back into it.
As Lord Omnus hungers to go and prove that there is no other greater force within the very Omniverse that can go and rival the supremacy that he alone wields, and so unless we are commanded by Lord Omnus otherwise, the Black Hooded Dementor adds, then we are to remain where we are until this battle between them reaches its ultimate conclusion, because with each passing victory that Lord Omnus claims over the Omni King, then the stronger Master Omnus will ultimately grow to become, the Dementor continues, and by devouring the very essence which gives the Omni Kings their authority, it would be wise for us to go and watch from afar, lest we are to go and warrant for Master Omnus to go and devour our souls within the process as well, for going and defying his orders, Red Hood. But should our presence be required, if Lord Omnus were to go and call us forward against that wretched Omni King, the Dementor continues, then we will proceed to go on and do what we must in order to go and see that Lord Omnus's mission is sought through its very completion, Red Hood. And so while we go and instruct for Lord Megalodor to wait for Lord Omnus's command on where his next—
Ooh, that's them other destroyers, you know, the ones that look like sharks and other sea animals, ooh, or dinosaurs too. Ooh. When they all clash with the other normal destroyer guys, oh man, it's about to be ugly. I wonder if they're gonna interrupt the tournament. Oh man, this is about to get interesting.
You serious?
Let's get back to it.
mission will go take him next. We are to maintain focus in keeping our eyes locked on this very battle at all times in case Lord Omnus were to suddenly call for us. But given with what it is that we already know and with all that we have seen that came from Lord Omnus in battle before the Black-Hooded Dementor continues, then I don't expect for this battle to last much longer than it's shown in having to be, and especially since Lord Omnus is seemingly holding back a very large percentage of his true and absolute full power against the Omni King. To which it was only in the meantime, back on over on the battlefield with Zeno being shown and having to struggle to get up following Omnus' strike and being shown knocking Zeno down, was when Omnus went on to then continue to address the Omni King by responding, "Oh, how the mighty have fallen, dropped in a matter of moments, and we are only just getting started," as mockery itself can't even begin to describe the embarrassment that I feel when I watch you struggle to engage yourself against me, for your very power is but a hollow echo of where it could have been when looking into the eyes of the one true dominant force which stands here before you, as all of those grand gestures of power and supremacy, dominance and authority, and this is all you have to go and offer on his questions? And here I was hoping for a bit more of a challenge that came from you, but perhaps I was mistaken to assume that you would even go and provide me with one, seeing as to how you can't even seem to stand on your own 2 feet again, let alone in going and fighting back here against me, Lord Zeno, for your fighting spirit is weak, broken before it even began, Omnus continues, along with having it serve as a painful reminder on why I had chose to never subject myself into becoming anything like how you currently are ever again.
Also, I look at this too as a fight between mentalities, you feel me? Which mentality is stronger than the other? Which will is stronger than the other? That's kind of what I see in this battle right here. They're not just battling physically, but they're battling on all type of levels. So it's a multi-dimensional battle.
What? Bro, what are you talking about, man?
Let's get back to it.
For your power is both a farce along with a pitiful display of the vulnerability that I relish in wanting to go and annihilate, all that bravado shattered by a superior force. And so now come on then, weakling, get up and try something that will actually go and work here against me, Omnus continues, because if this is all that the almighty Omni King of the future has to go and offer, then you have already lost this battle before it even started, Zeno. How exactly will you go and continue to try and tie me when your movement is as slow as anyone could ever hope to encounter, and especially for that of the Omni King's level of speed? Ironic, don't you agree? For you appear to be losing your focus whilst at the same time appearing to be hell-bent on making me suffer for daring to go and try to put my hands on you, and so how about it? Omnus continues upon being shown striking Zeno away, and as here I was hoping that you would go and hold out far better than how it is that you are doing here against me within the moments, but I shouldn't be surprised.
Zeno is getting destroyed right now, boy. Ooh, he's getting the crap beat out of him. You know, and it's surprising to me, you know, that he's actually this much weaker than the dark version of himself.
Damn! Now listen, I'm not being superstitious. I'm not being foolish. I'm not trying to evoke a response from you.
Omnus really must have been doing a lot of training in order to be in this position right here. Because, woo, man, this is an embarrassing fight. Let's see what happens.
Continues. And so what's wrong, Zeno? Are you struggling to hold yourself together? Omnus then suddenly appeared behind Zeno before attacking him. And as you are just far too slow to go and keep up with what you simply can't come to fully comprehend, Omni Jester. And because of this, I want for you to go and get ready to meet your end, for you never stood a chance in changing your destiny when left off to face here against me, and you never will. But then, it was only just then, to the sudden shock and surprise of Omnus, with Zeno being shown quickly spinning around just before and having to successfully be shown striking Omnus, was when the future Omni King went on to then quickly respond, I have had all that I can continue to go and stand out of you, and no matter who you are or what you happen to claim for yourself to be, you will never go and come to destroy who I am, as I will go and see to it to go and use everything that is required of me to ensure that you are eradicated once and for all. To which in the meantime, within these very moments now, despite us being shown and having driven back by Zeno, as Zeno had once again attempted in trying to do his best in attacking Omnus, with Omnus being shown having to dodge each and every single one of Zeno's attacks, was when the red-hooded Dementor went on to then respond. How very interesting. However, despite in having Zeno's sudden counterattack be lucky enough to go and catch Lord Omnus by surprise, even if it was for just a moment, this is nothing more than just simply child's play when compared to Lord Omnus, even if that sniveling Zeno had managed to briefly find an opening to strike Lord Omnus with. But if that pathetic excuse for a ruler goes and expects for this to change within his favor, the red-hooded Dementor continues, then that wretched Zeno is about to go and find out the hard way on why Lord Omnus's conquest over various alternate Omni Kings across multiple timelines and realities within the Omniverse had led him into becoming the most powerful along with being the most dangerous.
So he already been destroying other Omni Kings. Oh man, he's probably already a beast. Oh man, I don't know how Zeno gonna get himself out of this one, man, but wow. You know, now this is a storyline to pay attention to. Let's get back to it.
Variant of the Omni King to ever exist throughout the annals of history, because that is exactly what Lord Omnus has become, the strongest among them all, the red-hooded Dementor continues, and especially when in direct contact against another Omni King, Lord Omnus has proven that he has no equal. As the black-hooded Dementor went on to then quickly respond, do not, however, as Lord Omnus had stated once before, to go and underestimate these Omni Kings by any means, which is why Lord Omnus wishes to go and engage them alone as he is. But regardless of this fact, the black-hooded Dementor continues, and I want for you to watch closely, for we are just moments away from witnessing what we have went and witnessed many times with him before, and that is to go and watch as Lord Omnus finally puts an end to that wretched Omni King for good. To which it was only just then, seconds later, with Omnus being shown and having to backhand Zeno away just before and having to get right up in his face, was when Omnus went on to then continue, and just what exactly was it that you had been hoping hoping to go and accomplish here that would honestly go and make a difference for you in this war here against me, Omni Jester. And here I expected more from the so-called ruler of everything, but then again, prior to my great awakening, you had always been a foolish little weakling with a glass crown around the top of his head, Omnus continues. For you could have never grown into amounting into becoming the ruler to which I am today, Zeno, as you are as empty as you are naive if you truly had believed that you honestly stood a chance here at beating me, but because you are far too stubborn to truly understand the gigantic gap between us, maybe this ought to be what goes and reminds you that you were never meant to truly rule over the voids, because how can a child such as yourself ever come to truly realize the disease that festers within his very own creation, Zeno? As the simple answer to this question is but an easy one, because you can't, and what's even more is that you never will, Omnus continues, as you have allowed for yourself to go and be overtaken and dictated by your very own subjects, which is simply a sin that cannot go unpunished, Omnus continues. And since you had intended on going and ripping my life away from me by a way of total destruction, Omnus continues, then allow for me to further demonstrate by showing you on how it's really done, and the way I'm going to do it before I proceed to go and completely destroy you is I will now go and take from you the one singular driving force that makes you who you are today, Omnus proceeds upon being shown clutching onto Zeno's.
Wow. So basically, he just took his whole essence. That's crazy work, bro. Kind of remind me of Shang Tsung on Mortal Kombat. Damn! You know, I'll take your soul type of move. Damn, that's cold, bro. That's cold. Let's get back to it.
Head, which is that of your precious and eternal soul, Zeno. Omnus proceeds upon now being shown devouring Zeno's soul within his very vessel, and as there is no point in having to go and fight it, for you are about to become a far greater purpose than anything that you've ever could have imagined for yourself in becoming, and as I intend on taking everything away from you until there is nothing left of your essence that remains, Omnus proceeds, to which it was only just upon with Zeno's soul now being shown completely being sucked apart and devoured by Omnus was when Omnus went on to then continue, all those eons of giggling and erasing universes on a whim, and yet here you walked blindly into this final confrontation and thinking that you are untouchable. But look how wrong you were in your foolish assessment by believing that you stood a chance when you never truly did, Zeno. And now that I have achieved exactly what my purpose was when entering into this desolate world, Omnus continues upon suddenly being shown having to now impale the Omni King from the stomach, and I will ensure that you are to be eradicated from the annals of history without a single trace of your existence remaining by the time that we are done here, Omni King, and so you should go ahead and savor these final moments of false kingship, Zeno, because unlike it was with the previous Omni Kings who have went and fallen before you, the ending that I have in mind for you will be by far my most brutal one to date, you fraudulent disgrace. And in these last moments, as you struggle to draw your final breath while your vision begins to slowly fade beneath the weight of a power that far exceeds your very own, Omnus continues, I just want for you to know that there will be no corner within the Omniverse that you will go and exist within that I won't already know about, Zeno. And even if there is, no matter where it might happen to be, then they too will be destroyed just as you are about to be. And by the time that I am done, and once I have went and purged the entire Omniverse of all life that stands by your side in their mission to oppose my order along with my kingdom, for there will be one between us who will be left to go and rule over it all, and that person will be me, the one who sits above them all and the one true supreme leader of all known creation throughout every point within history, whereas you and your kind, with every variation that there is throughout any and every point within the annals of history, as well as those who side alongside with you, will be destroyed without a trace, Omnus says, and because I have gotten exactly what it was that I had been looking for upon entering within this wretched timeline, may your reign as the once former ruler of this entire known reality, along with everything that you have ever known and had ever come to achieve, finally reach its bitter end, Omnus shouts, for there can only ever be one true ruler over the entirety of the Omniverse, and that ruler's name across every and all dominions within the very Omniverse.
Now he pulled a Scorpion move, man. He basically devoured his skin and pulled his skeleton out. You know what I mean? Like, that's wild work. This fatality after fatality going on here.
You serious?
Let's get back to it.
Omniverse itself is Lord Omnus and not Zeno. Omnus feeds upon being shown completely tearing apart Zeno's skeleton from his body, to which, as he was then shown in having to do so, was when the Black Hooded Dementor went on to then quickly respond, "A job well done, venerable Lord Omnus, for we had expected nothing less in what it was that we had anticipated, but now that our mission within this timeline has finally reached its end," the Black Hooded Dementor continues, "where are we to go next on behalf of your request, Lord Omnus?" With Omnus responding, "You are to go and return to the palace at once, for our mission is by all means very far from being over, and once we are to return, I will go on to use the Omniverse's Infinity Crystal to once again seek out precisely on where we will be entering next within the Omniverse, for my dealings here within this particular timeline and reality is no longer required." Omnus continues upon now being shown Hakkaiing Zeno's skeleton, "For that Zeno thought himself untouchable and without an end, but little did he know that it was I who would go and bring about his satisfying demise, and just like Zeno," Omnus continues, "this is only but the beginning of so much more that there is to come, especially now that I continue to grow stronger and stronger, because with each passing Zeno that I hunt down and destroy after consuming their souls directly, does this only continue to accelerate my potential in magnifying my capabilities far beyond any ordinary Omni King by a gargantuan margin, but while I anticipate for there to be others who will more than likely rebel against my very cause," Omnus continues, "then I welcome them to go and freely try, because very soon, just as it's going to be with what is about to happen with this current timeline and reality, the end result will ultimately wind up in having them all end the same," Omnus continues upon now being shown completely wiping out the entire timeline, "whether they are to anticipate for my arrival or if they just so happen to face me within the very moment that I go and descend down upon them, their destinies will all end the same no matter who they are or where it is that they all just so happen to come from," as it was only right then and there now during that.
Woo! Hey man, how they gonna deal with this? Like, right now it seems like he's unstoppable. I mean, if there's a will, there's a way. There's always a way to win, but woo, they better get to thinking, especially if they're not prepared. At least the Grand Priest has some idea of what's going on. You know, even though the people that he sent there to get the information and to check it out got destroyed, but at least they have some type of idea of what's going on. But I wonder how this is going to all play out with the top 5 strongest, with the, you know, angelic Goku and all the other fighters that's been training. Man, this is about to get nasty. But that's it for the video today, you guys. I want to thank you guys for coming by and enjoying content with me today. Yeah, man. The next episode that come, bro, it's gonna be a heat. It's gonna be heat, bro. Real talk. And I can't wait to actually see it come out and see what happened next. You know what I mean? But it's a beautiful day outside. Make sure you go out there and get some sun, get some good air, and always take care of yourself. And remember, believe in yourself, because ain't nobody else gonna do it, bruh. Dragon Ball Art 92. I'm out, y'all. Peace.
I'm too positive to be doubtful, too optimistic to be fearful. So all my time I spend cheerful, and I know exactly what I'm here for. I'm too positive to be doubtful, too optimistic to be fearful. So all my time I spend cheerful, and I know exactly what I'm here for. I'm too positive to be doubtful, too optimistic to be fearful. So all my time I spend cheerful, and I know exactly what I'm here for. I'm too positive to be doubtful, too optimistic to be fearful. So all my time I spend cheerful, and I know exactly what I'm here for.